Hi, I'm Marlo from Wild Food UK, out foraging again. It's the 22nd of May today, and in this video I'm going to do a little three-part special for you. I'm first of all going to go out and show you some plants, then I'm going to show you some mushrooms that have braved this sunny April and May that we've had in 2025, and then at the end I'm going to cook some of them up just to show you a really simple dish that tastes fantastic. Now, I know I'm going to make that dish today because there's a few things that are dead certs to forage at this time of year, and one of them is your hogweed shoots. These lovely shoots of this carrot family plant are common hogweed, Heracleum spondylium. Here's one showing its carrot-shaped flower, the umbel that you get on all the apiaceas. The carrot family is an incredibly interesting and potentially life-threatening family of plants for the forager. So if you're going to forage from the carrot family, make sure you know what you're doing, and maybe watch my video on how to identify common hogweed and giant hogweed before you forage this for yourself. But when you're sure of what you've got, this is a wonderful plant. These are the young shoots. There's more around the base of every one of these plants. There's another few. So that's one of the crops I get from hogweed, and these are going to be ideal for the dish I'm going to make. Then the next crop are these unopened flower heads. Look a lot like broccoli florets. These are lovely in loads of different things, actually. Their flavour pairs extremely well with cheese. So you can do a fake cauliflower cheese with these, which is something I do enjoy. But today I'm going to do something different. There's more down here. And this is about the level that I'll pick the florets to. You can see there the plant has almost gone into full flower. But for me, that floret there, maybe that one, are still usable for the dish I am going to make later. So good start to my forage. I haven't even left my garden yet. And there is a lovely handful of common hogweed. So another really tasty wild plant in my garden is this swine cress. There's a young rosette of it growing in my pumpkin patch. And here is a slightly more mature rosette of it. Now this is a wonderful addition to a salad. Here's some little flower heads that I've picked. And these leaves here have a wonderfully spicy, cressy flavour. Some people don't really like this plant, but I find it one of the tastier weeds in my garden. It's certainly as tasty as the lettuce I've got growing not too far away. So swine cress, another one for the bag. Now, another two plants that are weeds in my vegetable patches are down here, but they're perfectly good in my salads. This is our common vetch, Vicia sativa, which is in a genus of the pea family, and they look very much like peas. These climbing tendrils here signify you've got a vetch. Now, there are some poisonous members of the vetch family, but these ones, common vetch, the flowers, are a fantastic addition to a salad because they not only look great, they taste of peas. I'll also use the sort of top frond in my salads as well. And another plant in my vegetable patch, it's made its way in by itself, our common sorrel. And these leaves have a lovely citrusy flavour. These are the flowers of common sorrel. I'm not going to pick those. I'm going to let this one go to seed, because the more of this in my vegetable patches, the better. Anyway, we'll get out the garden in a minute, I'm sure. So without leaving my garden again, we've got some more edible leaves here. Highly nutritious dandelions. You all know dandelions. The Dandelion, the teeth of the lion. Now, of all the plants going in my bag today, these are the most nutritious. They're not my favourite flavour, but mixed with the other leaves in there and a nice bit of dressing, they'll be absolutely fine. So kind of the reason I'm doing this video today is because May is the month for your elderflowers. And here, my elderflower has one side of it pretty much fully open. Now these beautiful flowers are what's inspired my cooking for the day, because I'm going to show you one of my favourite puddings at the end of this video. So all your salads should be beautiful at this time of year, and not many things are more beautiful than our roses. Look at that one. Now, it's worth knowing all rose petals are edible. They contain lots of vitamin C, and most of them are quite tasty. A nice thing to remember is that the nicer they smell, and this one smells lovely, generally the tastier and sweeter they are. Now today these are just going to go into a salad, but Steph in our office, she dries them and puts them in her muesli. And one of my favorite things to do with roses is to infuse vodka with them. It makes a lovely rose petal vodka drink. Now I best put these in my bag, take a few more before the wife sees what I'm doing. And something else beautiful for the salad is down here. Here is some common mallow in flower, and these flowers look fantastic. There we go. And have a nice taste to them. The best tasting part of this plant is what's left behind after the flowers. You get what are called mallow cheeses, but these flowers and flower buds are fine to go into the salad. And you can use the leaves as well. They are perfectly edible, but quite strangely, they are the most flavourless thing you will ever eat. They're good for bulking up salads, but not for flavour. Eating mallow leaves, apart from the texture and the crunch, has about the same flavour as eating air. So really, these beautiful flowers are what you want from the mallow plant, or the mallow cheeses that they leave behind. So I didn't leave my garden to get some lovely flavours for the salad, and I have literally come outside my front gate to this beautiful lime tree for my salad filler. Salad filler to me means basically your lettuce substitutes, and at this time of year common chickweed's a great one. It's got a lovely flavour, but more commonly I use the shoots of our lime tree, and these are some that I've just picked off. They're a lovely texture when they're shiny like this. You don't really want the fully matte leaves like this. See the difference there? But at this stage, I'll pick these whole tops, put them into my salad bag, and you can fill up a salad bag quite quickly with them. Now, the only thing to remember when picking your lime, because it's a particularly common parkland tree, is to pick from above Great Dane height. We still haven't left the garden. Down here, I was mowing this, what used to be a pathway around the edge of my garden, and it was full of ground elder. And look what's come back a week later. I've got lots of these lovely shoots of ground elder, which I do hate because they're such an invasive weed, but I also love them because they are a fantastic addition to a salad when they're young like that. So yeah, I've got a love-hate relationship with this plant. It depends on what I'm doing at the time. So I've only got one mushroom in my garden. This is a baby dryad saddle. Not ready to pick, which means to find our mushrooms, we're actually going to have to go for a bit of a walk. So we found our first mushroom of the day. It's down here with a little black ant on it. Look at that, beautifully coloured mushroom, which will have a pure white stem. I'm going to pick it now. There you are. That stem, excuse me, Mr. Ant. That stem will snap like a piece of chalk, and I'm expecting that the gills on this will be flexible. Oh no! So this is not a charcoal burner, Russula cyanoxantha. It is most definitely in the Russula family though. So if you've got a Russula and you don't know what it is, which is extremely common when you're picking Russulas, there is a little test to figure out whether you've got an edible one or a poisonous one. So we'll do that now. No, this is an edible Russula. I know that because the toxic ones burn your tongue like a piece of chili. I was expecting it to be a charcoal burner though, because they're one of the late spring and summer members of this genus. I don't know exactly which Russula this is. And that's extremely common even for the most knowledgeable mycologist, because the Russula genus is vast with very similar looking species, or many very similar looking species. So a 100% positive ID in the field is sometimes impossible. But to determine whether it's edible, that's quite easy. Have a nibble. But only have a nibble if you are sure, and I mean 100% sure, that it's a Russula. So this can go in the bag. And there we've got another fungus that's been braving all the sunshine that we've had recently. Looks a lot like a deer shield, but I'm not convinced that it's a deer shield. Now, deer shields, Pluteus cervinus, are classed as edible. They're not very good though. I have eaten them, so they're not very tasty. This though, I think is the very close look-alike, the beautifully named Megacalibia platyphilus, or the white lace shank. Now, the reason I believe it's that is because when I was digging around the base of it, it's not growing out of a piece of wood like a deer shield would do. And also on the wood around it, I found this corded mycelium. That is reasonably uncommon in the mushroom world, and it is a feature of the white laced shank, which is what I think this is. So I'm not going to be picking this one. I don't pick deer shields anyway, and the Megacalibia platyphilus is toxic. So I'd recommend, if you see things like this, just leave them behind. So here's a mushroom that always comes up in May around here. We've got our beautiful little chanterelles. These are babies, so I won't be picking most of them. Look at that, those full skills, lovely yellow mushroom. They've come up and then suffered from the sunshine, so they haven't really grown. I might take these two, which were the biggest here, and there's 2 or 3 more of a similar size around, and about 30 odd little babies. So it's time to pray for rain around these parts. So here's another very common May mushroom actually. This is our chicken of the woods, which is a good edible to most people, makes some people a little bit sick. Now, this is past its edible best. I harvested from this one about a week ago. That's where I harvested from. Let the rest grow. Now, this is a mushroom that doesn't seem to suffer too much when April and May are as dry as they have been, because it grows out of trees, I assume. So there you go, chicken of the woods. A lovely find, but past its edible best today. We'll be leaving this one. So we've come a tiny bit further along to another one of my chanterelle spots here, and we found this big fella. Now, let me just pick this and show you. This is a giant considering the sunshine that we've had. It is quite eaten. That's because there's so many wood lice at this part of the woods here, and they seem to munch the mushrooms. But even though it's eaten on the outside, this chanterelle, look at those full skills there. And this huge fat stem. That's quite unusual, even on a wet May. That's a beauty. But one of the best things about chanterelles is even when they're eaten on the outside, if I tear this in half, you'll see no maggot damage on the inside at all. Chanterelles are extremely rarely attacked by maggots. So this is certainly going in the bag. So there's a fair few amanitas all come up in late spring and early summer, and here's one of them. This is the beautiful Amanita excelsa, the grey spotted amanita. Now this is a mushroom with some pretty toxic lookalikes, but I know what it is. I'm still not going to pick it though, because it's not a particularly good edible. I'm just going to leave it here to look pretty. So back in the kitchen now with our beautiful foraged ingredients and our amazing Wild Food UK Foragers Cookbook, available from foraging.co.uk. Now, along with these lovely foraged ingredients, I've got a pot of oil, an egg, a lemon, some caster sugar, some mustard powder, and these are some 3-cornered leeks that were in my fridge. I've got some icing sugar, some sparkling water, and in there is 80 grams of plain flour plus about 20 grams of corn flour. So using all of that in a very short space of time, I'm going to make some tempura battered hogweed shoots and mushrooms with some wild garlic or 3-cornered leek mayonnaise. Accompanying that, we'll have our beautiful wild food salad, beautiful and nutritious wild food salad. And then for pudding, we're going to have some elderflower fritters with some icing sugar and lemon. So let's get started. First things first, you want to make your batter. That's really simple. Just pour your flour into a jug, and then you want the egg white. I'm going to save the egg yolk. So 1 egg white. So there's the corn flour and the plain flour, and I've separated the egg. The white's in there and the yolk's in this pot for later. All I'm going to do is add 225 millilitres of the sparkling water to that. And then we whisk it up. Here we go, a minute of whisking. There's nothing stuck to the edges. That's what you want. Now, you want that to rest for about half an hour, which gives you enough time to prepare for everything else. So we've got our egg yolk in there. I'm just going to add a little half a teaspoon of mustard powder. And this is not the ideal implement for making your wild garlic mayonnaise, but it does work. So what I'm going to do is chuck in my wild garlic, add in our little blender attachment, and whereas you would normally just pour and stir with your olive oil, when you're doing it like this, what you have to do is add a little bit, and then give it a quick whiz. Then add a little bit more. Professional mayonnaise makers will be watching this, judging me harshly. The end result is what matters. Right, after a few minutes of that, we've got a mayonnaise-esque garlic dip for our tempura battered hogweed. So that's our garlic dip done. Now the rest of it is really simple. I've got to get this oil up to about 190 degrees, which I'm going to be using my thermometer for. So stick that on there. Ooh, nearly there. There we go. We have made it, which means if I put a tiny drop of our batter in, it should sizzle nicely. Right, so into our batter that's been resting, should have rested for an hour or so, but it's been resting for about 45 minutes. I'm just going to put all of our mushrooms and hogweed. Now, remember everyone, you are dealing with very hot oil here, so never fill your pan above about halfway and just go in bit by bit. Because as you can see, the oil will bubble up. Now, they need to be in there for no more than about a minute. Yeah, that all looks done to me. There we go. Tempura, hogweed and mushrooms, which means the main course is ready. So we've got our tempura battered hogweed and mushrooms. We've got some garlic mayonnaise and a lovely wild salad. Bonnie has disappeared, but we've got Steph and Rachel to taste those. So come and dive in, grab a bit of salad. I know you're very hungry, darling. So put some of the tempura battered hogweed on. And whilst you're doing that, come over here, Eric. I'm just going to modify our tempura batter. So I'm going to put in about 20 grams of caster sugar because we used a fair chunk of the batter on the hogweed. And there we have a nice sweet batter. So with your elderflower, you want a little bit of a stem. It's a nice handle to hold on to the flower with. But remember, the stems are toxic or mildly toxic. So make sure that you cook them because the glycosides that are the toxic compound in the stems are completely destroyed by cooking. Sounds like the chickens want some too. So there we go, last one into there. And have you guys, you've already eaten all of your, was it tasty?
Really nice. Yeah, chanterelles.
Good, good, good. Right, so for this, all we want to do is dust them with a little bit of icing sugar. You probably don't want it on your mayonnaise plate, do you? And serve it with a little bit of lemon. Me and you will eat afterwards, Eric. Or you and I should say, shouldn't I, Rachel?
Thank you. How did you know?
So, tiny bit of icing sugar. Just dust it on top. And lastly, a squeeze of lemon juice. One for you, one for you. A little bit of ice cream goes lovely with this. Now,
Where's the ice cream?
I couldn't forage any today, I'm afraid. So, there you are. Tempura battered, hogweed, bit of garlic mayonnaise, a happy wife, a happy Steph,
What am I to you?
and plenty left for me and Eric. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then give it a like, subscribe if you want to, and if you like learning about things like this, the best way would be to come on a foraging course with Wild Food UK, or buy our foraging book or our brand new Foragers Cookbook, available from foraging.co.uk.